Man, I can't lie. Yeah, I tried to go sleep. I tried to go sleep last night. Yeah, like 9 p.m. Yeah, because obviously the game's on at 2 p.m. So I thought 2 a.m. So I thought, I'll go to bed at like 9, 10 o'clock. Yeah, get like 3 or 4 hours sleep, and then I'll be right. But I'm just sat there. I can't sleep, man. It's too hot, isn't it? So I end up not sleeping. Yeah, I maybe got half an hour, or whatever. Does the game. Obviously, it goes to extra time. Obviously, we lose. So then I've got to stay live later on talking about it, mate. So yeah, I'm knackered. I was up till like 5:30, but it's what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you win Champions League one day, Potsy, you might be able to experience a club World Cup.
Mate, I thought you were going to win this competition, man. All you City fans were getting gassed about this competition, brother, saying that you're going to win it, 120 mils, going to pay for your summer window. And then what happens? Boom, you go out to a bloody Saudi Arabia team. What's happening, Bill B? I didn't watch the game. What went on, man? Come on, talk to me.
Respect Al Halal, bro. Yeah. Serious team, mate. Drew against Real Madrid, beat City. Yeah, they're a serious football team, mate. Yeah, Inzaghi is the manager. Yeah.
What players they got? What players they got that we don't know? Come on. Koulibaly.
Bono in net, who was unbelievable. They got Koulibaly, who was probably the best defender on the pitch. He was mint. Ruben Neves.
He's trying. Koulibaly and Ruben Neves here and Ono in goal.
Man. I don't know, bro. We got cooked. We didn't get cooked, really. First half, we actually cooked them. First half, bro. We should have been like 4-0 up. Not even joking. Like, we battered them, man. Battered them. Their keeper had a madness. Yeah, their keeper went on a madness, making some mad saves. But we should have been 3 or 4-0 up. Like, easy. Like, not even overdoing it. And I said at half time, I said, listen, it's not good dish, you know, because, like, you got to put the ball in the back of the net, innit? And then we come out in the second half. We can see the goal within a minute. And then it's just dead. And then it's the same as what we've seen last year. Like, Pep just doing a madness with some of his decision making was weird. Substitutions were awful.
What did he do that was weird?
We go 2-1 down. He brings Akanji, Ake, and Rodri on.
Wow.
And then he doesn't bring Cherki on, Foden on, until extra time. I think he brought him on at extra time.
Can I ask you a question? I had a few City fans on the show this morning, the one I did with Goldbridge, and they were saying that they're really confused as to why you bought. By the way, I've heard his name said 10 different ways, but Heiss and what's the other defender's name? I forgot. Kuzanov. That he was basically saying he doesn't understand why the club dropped so much money on them for Pep to barely play them, and not to, especially when he says the defense is shaky. Is that a message that's echoed across many City fans?
I think for me, yeah, it's like, I think Huzanov's a really good player. I actually think he's mint. And I know everyone like who's not watched him as much as me just remembers what he did against Chelsea. But actually, after that, he was really good. He will play the month for us. The month after that, he's really good. He's rapid, he's aggressive, and he's good in the air. Yeah, one of the problems we've got at the moment with Ruben Dias is that he's so slow. And because he has no protection near him to cover the lack of pace, every time a ball goes over the top, we're cooked. We're absolutely cooked. We have no pace in the back line.
What's happened to him then? Because, like, banter aside, I genuinely thought he was one of the best centre-halves in the world a couple of years ago, Diaz. I thought he was unreal. And, like, now people are saying start Husanov ahead of him. I mean, Vitor Hayes, I don't know anything about. I've not seen him. But Husanov, I agree with you. I think he looks quite good, man. I quite like him. But do you think he'll start ahead of Diaz, or do you think it's Diaz and Guardiola?
Nah, he'll start Guardiola and Diaz. Yeah, in my opinion. I think that's what it'll start. And then if we keep on getting cooked on transition and counter-attacks, then eventually he'll have to drop Diaz and put Husanov in there for the pace. But Diaz, when he first joined, Diaz in his first 2 years, I think he was up there with like the Van Dijks in terms of being like, he was phenomenal. And then the year after the treble, so the 4th title we won in a row, he dropped off. And then last year he dropped off, but everyone dropped off. And this year, so far in this tournament, he's not bad. It's not like he's making errors. He doesn't suit the system. When you're playing such an aggressive high line, you need pace in the back, don't you? You can't play high line with Per Mertesacker on the halfway line, can you? You can't do that. You need someone with pace. Now, previously, we've had Walker. Walker's just played right back, but obviously just sat there next to the defenders. And as soon as the ball goes over the top, bang, Kyle Walker goes and gets it. But we don't have Walker anymore. We've got Nunes, and Nunes is not sitting back. He's up the pitch. He's trying to score goals and create chances. So when the ball's going over the top, I'm looking at Ruben Dias and Gvardiol chasing back. And Gvardiol's not slow, but he's not rapid. And Diaz is slow. So every time a ball goes over the top, we're just cooked. And then he takes all our midfield off. So we have no midfield. Now, if you think back to sort of when City were in that horrendous run last year of 1 win in 14, one of the things that everybody was saying is our midfield was just getting destroyed.
Sorry, LB. No, don't do that. It was 1 win in 13. Don't disrespect yourselves, mate. Sorry. 1 win in 13.
Was it? Well, was it? Sound, yeah. Yeah, when we went through that running 1 win in 13, one of the things that people were saying and everyone was noticing was that our midfield was non-existent. Last night, he took all our midfielders off and left us with Bernardo Silva as a lone DM. And lo and behold, we end up getting absolutely rinsed through the midfield.
That's shocking, man.
Bro, you're laughing, but like we're sitting here scratching our heads going, what's going on? What's he doing? I don't understand it. I don't get, like, you know, sometimes when a manager makes a decision or a sub, like, you might not agree with it sometimes, but you get like what he's thinking, innit? You think, oh, the reason he's done that sub or the reason he's set up the team like this is because he wants to do this. Now we might sit there and say, I don't agree with that. I think he should have done this, blah, 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 blah. But I'm sitting there going, I don't understand it. Why is he taking off Gvardiol and Nunes and putting Ake and Akanji on and Rodri when we're losing? Why has he took all our midfielders off? Why did he take Rodri? Because Rodri got injured, so he had to go off. So then instead of putting Nico Gonzalez on, who can go in that midfield and be some sort of physical presence, he doesn't, and he puts Bernardo Silva DM. So I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is going on? And in the end, we get beat. And it's mad because that game should have been out of sight in the first half, but we don't have clinical play. The team that started the game weren't clinical. Yeah, we've not got players who can put the ball in the back of the net. We missed our chances. Keeper made some great saves, credit to him. But we should have been 3 or 4-0 up at half time. Easy.
So now that you're out and you get your rest now and all this, like the rest of us, what do you need to do then? Because you sound like you're worried about your Man City defensively. Have you got to buy more players?
Well, we need a right back because we don't have one. Right, so we need a right back.
Livramento, isn't it?
Well, I'd like Livramento because then he can play left back as well. So then you've got Ike, Nori, Livramento, and Nunes as three full back options.
So was it Akanji and Lewis at the moment?
Well, Nunes is our main right back, who's obviously is not a right back. Well, that's who's our right back at the moment, but he's not a right back. Then it's Akanji and Lewis, who Akanji's not that good, man, and Lewis is not a right back; he's a midfielder. So, yeah, we need a right back. I still think City are going to go big for Livramento, and then it's a case of does he drop Diaz for Huzanov? I'll say no, he doesn't. So then it's a case of will we get cooked on transition with the ball over the top? Time will tell. I'll say probably yeah. And then the midfield, will he keep on playing players like Gundogan and Bernardo in a double pivot, or will one of them leave? Probably Gundogan, Turkey. So I don't know, man. I think the squad is there or thereabouts, and then we've got to adjust a goalkeeper as well because Ederson ain't getting any better, man. Like I'll be real, last year he was not good last year, and so far this tournament he's getting even worse. So. Yeah, it's a goalkeeper and right back. And then the squad's there, thereabout. Then it's just a Pep thing. Does Pep keep making weird decisions? That's it.
Yeah, do you know what? I had a theory this morning, and I'm going to compound on this. I want to word this in the right way because I could do the what I call the Boovie. I could do the Boovie or the Jennings and just go, he's washed, he's finished. He's over the hill. I don't think that's true, but I think he might be at the end of his lifespan at City. And I don't even mean this with any disrespect. I'll never try and tear down anything Pep's done ever. And I don't think I've ever done that on these shows once. But everything has a life cycle, and long-termism shouldn't be looked at like Fergie. That was just beyond a joke that he stayed somewhere for 25 years. 5 to 10 years, even in the sort of 60s and 70s where longevity was celebrated, you were still only talking about in and around a decade. And what I think is different now is the pressure, social media, the media scrutiny, the volume of games, the televisation of games. In those eras, teams might, in some of those eras, you only were on TV if you're in the FA Cup final. And of course, when that comes with fanfare. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's making mistakes or second guessing himself purely because his mind ain't 100%. And we're talking about one of the greatest teams England's ever had, and we're talking about one of the greatest managers to ever coach and manage in this game. But my mind, when it comes to sport, has been changed by something I heard Roger Federer say recently, which is that he basically said, I'm regarded as the greatest ever or one of the greatest ever. And he said, what people don't realize because they don't know the sport well enough is that I only won 52% of all the points I ever played for. So, and the players who barely win anything but are pros, they win something like 46 to 47%, 48% of their points. So the difference between a tennis player the same age as Federer that you've never heard of compared to one of the greatest athletes of all time, you're talking a 4 to 5% swing in points they win. And I've always had this belief that as a team, if your manager or your star player is 5%, 10% even off the pace, that can take you from being the best team in the league by a country mile to suddenly it being in a situation where everybody can beat you, because there isn't this massive difference that people think. You're just talking about a team like City that invariably in the last decade has had the edge over most teams and has had the brilliance of Pep to keep them consistent. I just wouldn't be surprised if after all the analyzing of good player, bad player, this, that, if it isn't just the manager being tired and therefore not making the best decisions in terms of what he does. Because it's the thing to watch, I think, in the next 6 months, because I do listen. He's still got brilliant players, and I mean the goal won't get spoken about now. The Foden goal, I will say that pass from Turkey was absolutely. So there was some brilliant stuff there. I'm not saying you're washed. I'm not saying the football's crap. I'm not saying you'll never win a trophy with Pep ever again. I'm not going to make any crazy statements. I'm just looking at his behavior in the last year. He doesn't, and even yesterday, I saw the way he wasn't. I watched him. I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights back, and I know he always gets frustrated when he's losing. And maybe I'm reading too much into this. There just feels like there's something different going on right now with him that I can't quite put my finger on. But
you think that will be?
There are positives from yesterday and this tournament, right? On the ball, we are much better than last year. We actually look dangerous. We actually look threatening. We're passing with intensity. We're passing with a purpose. And we're not just passing sideways, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right for 90 minutes, right? However, defensively and in transition and counter attacks, still issues there. So, I don't know. We'll see how we get on this year, man. My confidence has took a little bit of a knock, I can't lie, because I was thinking, you know what, we're playing good here, and you know we tweak some stuff, but yeah, man, to concede 4 against Al Hilal, it's not good, bro. And the way some of the goals that we were conceding, mate, bad. And if Edison doesn't improve and we don't get a new goalkeeper, then we're cooked, man. We're cooked because he's not performing well. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens in it. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. We need Rodri back fit. Yeah, because he ain't fit. We need him back fit, and we need a right back. And at that point, if we're not playing well, we're still losing games or conceding pure goals, then yeah, we got major issues, and maybe we got to look at the manager at that point. But at the moment, I still think that there's a couple of areas on the pitch that we need to look at first. But yeah, man, I took a little bit.
What you got to do next season, LB? What, like bare minimum?
Well, bro, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, you can't spend. What is it? 300 million and not be going for the title. So we need to be in a title race bare minimum. Yeah, we need to be competing in Europe. We can't just be getting absolutely cooked in Europe off likes of Real Madrid when they're not even good. Bro, we need to be back at the top, man. That's the aim of the game. Back at the top, competing for trophies.
But you keep Pep whatever, right? He's unsackable, isn't he?
I don't think he's unsackable. I think if next year we don't compete for trophies, I think he'll go.
I mean, I think he might go anyway after this 1 year. But
I agree. I think he will. Yeah. I think he might go. But I think, say we finish third, not in a title race, and we get knocked out Champions League round of 16 or whatever, I think he'll go at the end of next season.
Yeah. I mean, like,
I think him and the club might just be like, you know what, it's not. We're not getting any better here. We can't spend 340.
I think it depends. Like defensively, I agree with your concerns, and I understand why you have concerns, and they're fair, right? I think Rodri is a big question mark because if he comes back as the Rodri we all know, you're going to be in a great chance of doing something special. If he comes back as the Rodri that you're not, it's a big injury, you're thinking, yeah, he's still quality, but it ain't like, wow, he's the best player head and shoulders above the pitch and he's going to lead us, then that could be a question mark. And I think for me, like as much as KDB and Bernardo have kind of legs have gone and stuff, like how do you replace that creativity and that kind of goals and assists? And I think Foden needs a good season for you again, because that was a poor year he had. I don't know what happened to Foden that last year just gone. He just was not in any games. He wasn't really consistent. He was kind of good for a couple of games and bad for like 5 or 6 or 7. And then he'd show up with a goal again and he'd go another 5, 6, 7 games. So he needs to come back into the mix. And I do think that it's going to be interesting to see how this new kind of structure works with Shirky and Marmoush. And then obviously you've got Haaland, who needs to, get fed and service. I think there's a few question marks in each department at City, if I'm honest with you. I'm not saying it's a shambles, because it ain't by any means, and I still think you'll be in a title race, but I still think there is a genuine question about a few of it. Are you going to be defensively sound? Is Rodri going to be back? And is that going to allow him to complement the other compartments of your team? And then is Foden and, Haaland going to be able to deliver? Because them two need to, for me, for City to win something big. So there's question marks, man, for sure.
Well, positive on Foden. He's looked better in this tournament. He has looked better. I'm not going to say he's back, because that would be a ridiculous statement to make after playing Al Ain, the Wydad, and Al Hilal. But there are positive signs there. That's good. Cherky, he's a player, man. What a player. I mean, he why he didn't start the game or why he didn't come on earlier than he did is a mystery to me. I don't know if you've seen the goal.
He's a baller, man. He's a baller.
The ball that he played to Foden was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, yeah, like I say, there are positive sides. It's not all doom and gloom. It's just like, this is the thing, right? To win the league, you have to be perfect. You're coming up against the best teams in the division. You can't afford to have deficiencies in your side. So people be like, oh, why are you being negative or whatever? It's like, because if you want to win the Premier League, your defence has to be spot on. Your midfield has to be spot on. Your attack has to be spot on. Your goalkeeper has to be spot on. And your coach has to be spot on. And right now, I've got a few areas in those groups that are not spot on. My manager's making weird decisions still. My goalkeeper's just not looking good. My defence is looking a bit washed. My midfield is looking decent, but it's still reliant on Rodri coming back, and he just got injured again today. And my attack is semi-cooking. Yeah, Rodri picked up some, I don't know what. It didn't look like serious injury, because he was like running about after the game and that, but he took a little bit of a knock or whatever. So yeah, like that's it. Like, you've got to be perfect. This is why, like, I hear you always talk about Arsenal, bro, like moaning and shit. And people are like, why are you moaning? We're second. It's like, why? Because to win the league, you got to be perfect, bro. Yeah, a draw can fuck you. You need to win games. You need to get 90 points to win a title. Like, you've got to be perfect. You've got to iron it. You've got to iron the issues out. And we'll see, man. We'll see. I need a right back at the football club, man.
How would your window, like, if you could plan out the perfect end to the window, what would that look like to you, bro? In terms of like personnel?
Yes, I probably would get Livramento. I think he'd be a great addition to the side, because he can play right back as well. So he can cover for Nori when he's injured or whatever. I'm buying a new number 1 goalkeeper.
Like...
I don't know, because I've got concerns about all of them. I'm looking at Costa at Porto. I've only watched him 3 times.
I quite like him though, bro. I quite like him.
Well, I can't claim that I know a lot about him. I've watched him 3 times, yeah, but 2 of the games he was poor. One of them he was good. I don't think we're going to get Trafford. I think if we was going to get Trafford, we would have got him already, because I think we've got a buy back on him. I don't know what goalkeeper you're getting, but it's irrelevant to me. Just go and get me. The club obviously scout these players, so the club know who's on the list. I think what the club should do is let Ortega leave, who's the backup goalkeeper, and buy a new number 1 goalkeeper, and then just let them fight it out.
Let's go to some of these super chats here. Terry, where's the violin for LB? Yeah, I forgot to play the music. I probably should have done, to be fair.